Okay, so welcome to TP's Diary. I This is about the sixth take of what I'm actually going to go through because I've been having a few technical issues, so we're going to try again, and hopefully this is now all dealt with. So and then we can actually get on with the main part of what we're trying to achieve here, and that is to fix the car. So we had a trip out last weekend. It was the longest trip that we've ever done in the car so far, and it had like I suppose it was a bit of a learning curve. Anyway, so we went down to South Devon in it. We went to Dartmouth. We live in the sort of Southampton area, so yeah, so it was a bit of an adventure. About I suppose 350 miles there and back. The weather was lovely, and it was a bit to get a bit hot, but the car didn't get hot. I.e., the car ran. All the temperatures and everything were running fine, but it was hot. Anyway, we went down the wretched A303, and those of you who don't know it, the A303 is quite notorious around here. It's a road that goes from Winchester all the way down to Devon and Cornwall. Well, basically Exeter, then you're in that area. And there's a part of it, Stonehenge, which is an old, monument. I don't know much about Stonehenge, but all I know is the traffic around it is terrible. So anyway, so yeah, so we got past there, and then when I got to Honiton, I was noticing that we were getting a bit of a backfire coming from the car. So on the overrun, I didn't really think much of it, to be honest, because through Honiton and afterwards we got on the dual carriageway and then the motorway, and the car seemed to be running absolutely fine. So then we got to the sort of A and B roads heading off the dual carriageway. I think it's the A36, maybe. I don't know. Whatever road it is, and which is basically the road from Exeter down towards Devon. And when we got off that, we're on the sort of the A and B roads at low speed, and I'm talking sort of 20, 30 miles an hour. I noticed a misfire, and obviously it was backfiring as well. So the fact that it was backfiring, in my mind, meant that we were getting excessive fuel. So there wasn't an issue with the fuel. It had to be some sort of spark. And I have actually had a problem with the spark before, in terms of the number 5 cylinder on bank A. The HT lead came off, so it kept sort of slipping off the plug. So anyway, when we got to the hotel, I sort of opened the bonnet. I sort of pressed all the HT leads back on, and I thought I'd fixed it, but I hadn't. So on the way back, it was definitely misfiring at low speed. At high speed, it wasn't, but at low speed, it was. So it kind of, it wasn't the HT leads and everything else. So and as the the car is the hobby, the videoing is the sort of secondary and second hobby. When I got back home, I wanted to diagnose and see what the problem is. So actually, I forgot to record it all. So I'm going to record it going back together, and I'll show you what I found. But I didn't record it taking it all apart. I suppose the discovery of the problem. But anyway, so I've taken all the HT leads off. I've taken the coil out. I've taken the distributor cap off and the rotor arm off. And actually, I found a crack in the distributor cap. So that, to me, says that's the problem, I hope. I won't know for sure until I put it back together. So I've decided to treat the car to a sort of, new plugs, new leads, new coil, new cap, new rotor arm, basically. So yeah, so I've got the plugs. I'm going to gap those up in a minute. I think they come in pretty well gapped anyway, but I'll gap them up and I'll show you how to do that. And then the HT leads, really nice leads. I got them from Formula Power. online. They came as a set, 10mm ones, so they should actually, they're bigger than standard, so they should actually give a much lower resistance through the lead, and so consequently a better spark. And then HDN Barrett had supplied all the coil, the distributor cap, and the rotor arm. So I'm going to now move over to the bench, and I'm going to start showing you what I've found, because actually it's quite interesting. When I put a multimeter across the two terminals where the crack is, you can actually see that there is a small current going between the two. So that's quite interesting. And then I'll show you the new bits, and I'm going to gap up the plugs, and I'm going to put the whole lot back together, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will all work. Okay, right. So I said that I was going to show you some of the bits that I've taken off. So I've got my HT leads here, and to be honest, they're all in good nick. You can see that they're obviously used, but they're actually in relatively good condition. Whereas the distributor cap, which is here, so you can see it here, has actually got a crack in it. So I don't know if I can show you. Let me just take this. So I don't know if you can see in there. So I'm hoping you can see that just there's a crack running between those two. So just here, there's a crack running between there. So if I actually get my multimeter out, it's actually quite, it's actually quite interesting. So let me just show you there. So you can see just there's a crack. Maybe actually if I get a torch. There you go. I'm pretty sure you can see that crack now. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully I've caught that on camera. Anyway, and yeah, you can trust me. There is a crack between this one and that one, which basically is A1, and I wrote it down in my book. So it's A1 and it is 6B. I was right. So A1 and 6B, there is actually a crack between them. So if I actually get my multimeter, what I mean by the little siren, you can hear it buzzing when I make a circuit. It doesn't allow that much current through. However, when I put it across the two terminals, you can see at the moment it's like 3.6 ohms running through there. So actually it is creating a circuit, whereas if I put it on any of the others, there's no circuit at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate that here. If I can, I don't know if you can see that. There you go, you see that. So if you look now, I can put it across the two terminals, and okay, it's not making a siren, but you can actually see it that there is a current running through there. Whereas if I now put it between any of the others, there isn't. So that gives me pretty good confidence that that's the issue. So so I reckon here's my problem. So what I have gone and bought now, And this is the old rotor arm, which, to be honest with you, is in pretty good condition. So I have gone ahead and bought a new rotor arm, which does look a bit different, but they did assure me that it is the correct arm for the car. So anyway, I've gone ahead and I've bought myself 12 new NGK spark plugs. And I don't know if any of you know, but when you actually install these plugs into a V12 engine or any alloy engine, always stick a bit of copper grease on the threads. Just stops you having any aggravation in the future of it stripping threads or trying to get them out or them seizing up or whatever. So before I put them in, I've actually gone and looked in my Haynes manual here, and it's saying it's 0.89 of a millimeter should be the gap, and I've got my feeler gauge. So I don't know if you can see, but actually these are pretty well gapped already. So I wonder if you can see that. Yeah, and see that I've got a few cameras set up here. So you see that? So I'm quite happy with that, and so I'm basically going to go through now, get my copperies, and then I'll get ready to install that. But I've got some other bits that have arrived. So these were the plug leads I was telling you about, and if you have a look at, let me just get one out, and then let me just compare it to one of the older ones. But if you have a look at that, I mean, it's completely different. These look like really good quality parts. So I'm quite happy with these leads. So, but they don't have the numbering on them. So what I am going to do is I've also got some other bits and bobs in here. So this is the new distributor cap with a new gasket. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use a white marker, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually write on the top of the cap all the different wires. Right, okay, so I have now I've marked up my the top of my distributor cap with all of the HT leads. So 1A, 6B, 5A, 2B, etc. So even though my new HT leads don't have the numbering system on them, I'm still, when I'm out and about, I'm going to be able to identify which one's on the distributor quite easily just by looking at these numbers now. So I've done that, and before that goes in, I'm now going to take my plugs, which I've checked the gaps on all of them. I'll just show you that again. So I've got my feeler gauge, and this is 0.89 of a millimeter. So right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a bit of copperies on all of these plugs, and then we'll get over to the car and we'll start installing them. So I just go through now. You don't have to put a lot of copperies on, but like I said before, if you don't, it could lead to problems later on when you're when you want to get the plug out. I mean, I just put a little bit on, every time as a matter of course, but that's up to you really. But so I've got a little brush here, and I just wipe them on. You don't have to put too much on. Like that. That's it. So I'm going to do that to all 12 now, and then we'll go over to the car and get these in and start putting it all back together. And hopefully when we fire it all up, no more misfire. Right, okay, so I've got my new plugs. So I'm just going to put those in now, and just carefully just go through each one. They're actually quite deep in the valley, so I've actually gone through and loosened each one off now. And I've also already gone through with my vacuum cleaner and just cleaned out where all the plugs are, just so no technical term, no shit falls down into it. Okay, that's 3. So they're not too bad. You can see that they're actually not too bad. But anyway, it just doesn't seem. I'm not going to chuck these plugs away. There's nothing wrong with them really, but I'm not going to chuck them away. It just really makes sense to, while I'm going to this effort to do all of this, to change them. So the vacuum didn't actually get. Okay, so all I'm doing is just getting in there and just getting them started really. I don't want any cross threading or any of that nonsense. There we go. That's that one. V12 new plugs in. I'm just going to go around now, tighten them all up. The next thing I've got to do is I'm going to just put on the new rotor arm. So let's grab that now. So it's just okay. So it looks okay. So on the rotor arm, you have a it's basically like a molded in wood rough key. So it's like a dowel to make sure you can only put it on one way round. So it just goes on there and just pushes down. So that's that. And then the distributor cap. Oh, my knees are going. Let's get rid of that. Don't need all of those anymore. Okay. So need is okay. So the new distributor cap goes on. And put the now this gasket can only go on one way round. It's just a question of finding which way round it goes. Looks like that is the way. Yeah, where's number one? There. So I think it goes on like this. Now, do I want to put it on the distributor first? Or do I want to put it on the cap? I'm going to try the distributor. I don't think I've got. I think I think I need to put it on the cap. Let's take it off. Let's get rid of the gloves because I don't. These are causing me problems. So. So the cap, the screws have little sort of O-rings on them in order for the to stop the bolts falling out of the cap. They just need to be pushed down the bolts a bit more. Don't know if you can see that. That one's down, that one's down. This one's quite far up for some reason. Quite a good idea really, because otherwise, you know, you're fiddling around taking this off and then all the bolts fall down into the valley of the engine and you can't find it for some reason. Now, is that the right way round? Yep. Okay, that's one screw on. old bugger, stay on there. Right. Is this... Right, this is not the way to do it. Okay. I've never put one of these on before, so I don't really know, but I thought that would be an easier way. But let's start from where we were before. Get the gasket onto the distributor housing. Try that. Okay, that seems to be lined up as best I can. Now, number one is on this side. I'm just nipping this up, so I don't want to go crazy. And I wouldn't use Loctite or anything in this. Right, so right, I'm happy with that. Now what I need to do is I need to just nip all the plugs up, so they're all done. And then I'm just going to sort out these terminals on for the coil. Then I can put the coil back in. Then the plug leads can go in, and then we can give it a test fire to make sure it's all running properly. So let's get that sorted now. So that is that for the plugs. So I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do quickly is I'm just going to sort out these cables. This one's relatively easy. Yeah, because I don't like these. They come off. I've already had it where I couldn't start the car because I'd been fiddling around because of this misfire and it just wouldn't start. And I was like, oh God, what's happened? What have I done? And as it turned out, I'd dislodged one of these cables. So, you know, it's something that I just don't like. So I'm gonna take that one off. Just put it off that way around. So, and I'm going to cut that off. I'll show you. And a lot of people use those cheap crimpers, They are absolutely crap, and you just, in my view, you just shouldn't use them. I'll show you what I've got. Okay, so this is the tool I'm referring to. So this is a proper crimping tool, and it does a really, really good job. And if you haven't got one of these and you're relying on those other ones that come in the kits, I strongly suggest you go and buy one of these. The difference in the crimp and the ease of it is chalk and cheese. So you can see absolutely, nice strong crimp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hot air gun. And again, this is quite superior one because I can show you. Here's my hot air gun. This is actually it's actually a hot air gun that you can use to weld plastic. So if you get a broken header tank or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll do the rest of the crimps first, and then I can fire that up, and we can then so then we can then go on and what's that one? Positive. That's negative, right? Make the noise and put all the heatsink on. What have I done with the? There we are. So I want to keep as much of the cable as I can, so I'm just chopping it. Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I remember. is that on there. Do up the other one, and then coil is then in. So and connect it all up.
There's something in the air.
So, right, next thing I have to do is plug leads. So that should be done. Should we just check it? So 1A is on here. Pretty sure. I think we should give it a bash, see if it starts. So should we do that? Let's open the doors up. Let's see if it starts, shall we? Keys here. All right. Oh. Okay, so it's not firing. Oh, good. That's a. Oh, that's worse than it was before. So, what could that be? Careful, because that will be charged. Okay, I need to have a bit of a think of this. I wonder, the plugs, it's trying to fire, so there is spark. The only thing I can think of is that rotor arm is a bit different to the original one. So perhaps the thing to do would be to take the distributor cap off again. Right, okay, so I have now taken the distributor cap off and put the old rotor arm on. So I'm going to see whether or not that's it. I'm not really hoping for much. Let's see if that works. Oh, you're not going to believe it. I can't believe that. Let me just take this off. So you can tell, you can hear it instantly, both sides sounding exactly the same. I can't believe that. Well, no, I can. I thought it was a bit odd. Absolutely brilliant. I'm very happy with that. Let's see what we can do in trying to capture some of that exhaust sound. a minute. See if we can get to capture some. Okay, that fixed the problem. It's not misfiring or anything. I'm not taking it out today because it's so wet. But I think that is misfire, new plugs, new distributor cap, new coil, not a new rotor arm. I can't believe I've been supplied the wrong one. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you found this informative, I'm trying to build my channel, although it is just for fun. So if you feel like it, subscribe and like, send me any comments, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll join me in the next video.